Hello, I'm Orla.
And I'm Leanne. And together we are
How's Your Ma?
So today we have Katie with us in the studio. And just to give a little bit of background as to our guest, Katie, I met Katie in FlyFit because I was slagging her husband short and his big shoulders. And
Still do.
I still do. And me and Katie's husband became friends, and then in walks this absolute beaut, and he was like,
Stunner.
"That's me wife," and I was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "Yeah," and I mean, Katie is genuinely a beautiful person. So I have had the luxury of getting to know her over the past few months, probably over a year.
It's over a year
You're
now.
over, Jesus,
It's over a year
you
now.
must be sick of me, are you?
No, I look for you when I go into the gym. I abandon John and go for you. I'd be on the lookout.
So that's how we met.
I
Really-
met her 10 minutes ago,
Yeah.
and we're already best
I'm
friends.
already besties.
Well, you have to be besties, don't you?
Yeah.
I suppose I am very interested and very curious in Katie's story. I've heard little bits and pieces of it at different times, just
Yeah.
because of the conversations that we've been having around having kids and love and loss and all of that kind of stuff, and just general chit-chatting in what friendship and women's friendship looks like. So I asked Katie, invited her to come on to the podcast to let Orla grill her. As Orla smiles to herself over in the corner. So I did ask her to come on, and she was absolutely delighted.
I was.
Brilliant.
I was
And
delighted.
it's great to have you, Katie.
Thank you so much, and thanks so much for having me. I really am genuinely delighted to be here. When Leanne said it to me, almost a few weeks ago now, I was like, I'll go on. I'll do it.
Brilliant.
I jumped. No, I just think it's a great opportunity. There's a gap for things like this. There's not, like, you don't really hear of it being spoken about.
I think we've decided that we wanted to take the time out of our lives to be able to empower other women, hear stories, share relationship stories and share relational stories, as in what happens in the spaces in between. And we'll go back to that kind of stories lived and stories told, because I will know some things about you, but I don't know everything about you.
And I know nothing.
And I don't need to know
very
everything
first
about you. But I don't need to know everything about you. But whatever you want to explore here in the space, you're welcome to explore that at your own pace, in a way that you want to. And so, Katie, start off by telling us about the beautiful person that you are that sits in front of us today.
So I am 34. I have 5 children. I had 6. I lost a little girl a few years ago, a baby. But I have 1 teenage girl and I have 4 boys. And I live in Kildare. I met my husband.
That's the stalker sorted now.
Literally. I met my husband when I was 16. So we're together 19 years, married 8. Been through hell and back.
And
But we're
hear
still
about hell.
here.
So can I just ask, when you say that, hell and back, what do you mean when you say that?
Well, we've probably gone through more things than most couples. Well, I say that. I'm sure there's couples that have gone through a hell of a lot worse than we have. But
This is your story, Katie.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
We
We've
don't-
been through a lot. We've been
Yeah.
through a lot. Like, we met very young. We had to grow up very young. We had our first child when we were 18. I was 17 actually when I got pregnant. I was 18 when I had her. John was actually, he was 18, heading for probably nearly 19 at that point. We just had to grow up very young. I had a lot going on like at home in my life. My parents were separating at the time. They were divorcing. I have 1 sister who was 4.5 years younger than me. And she was a big weight on my mind at that time.
Of course, yeah.
There's just the two of you.
There's just the 2 of us.
Okay.
There's just the 2 of us. So, you know, life was hard. Like, I mean, it was, as I say, like, you had to grow up. John was working. He was an apprentice at the time.
Yeah.
He was on shite money. I think it was like 160 euros or something a week at the time. I wasn't working. I was pregnant. Now, we had great support from family. Like, our family were amazing.
Yeah.
Particularly John's family. They were amazing. They were brilliant. But we still had to stand on our own 2 feet too. Now, in saying that, I still lived at home at that point with Ciara. I was never thrown out or anything, thank God. But it was very, very tough. So then, I don't even know where to go from there. Like,
Can I ask you a question? when you say tough, what does tough feel like for you? Because tough is relative to your capacity and your threshold. So what was tough for you? And tough belongs to you. That, as you define it, that belongs to you.
So tough for me was, in my head, I was in a broken home because my parents were divorcing at the time.
Was it a bad divorce?
Yeah and no. It was quite amicable, but it was shite. It was just shite. It was years coming.
Right.
Like, years coming. Like, I couldn't sit here and tell you one good memory I have of my mum and dad being happy together or separately. It was actually shocking. It was bad. Like, but it's only now in my later years when I sit down and think, Jesus, like, can't recall one memory, not one good thing. So for me, when I found out I was pregnant, like, I had such a fear of my mum. When I found out I was pregnant, I didn't tell anyone, like, nobody, until I was 6 months pregnant. Wow. Didn't go to a doctor's appointment, nothing. It was only me and John who knew.
I'm so sorry for you that you didn't have anybody to tell.
Thank you.
Because
was that just
not
fear,
a nice
like
fear? Because I knew if I told my mum early enough, I'd have been on the first flight to England.
Yeah.
Or the boat.
Yeah, or the boat.
Get the boat back
wherever, whatever was going to be easy at the time to take me off. I knew that's what would have happened, and I was sitting my leaving cert at the time, and in my head I was like, well, I want these points. I want to prove I can still do this and be pregnant. So I sat my leaving cert, and like, it was so bloody tough because I had it all bottled up and I couldn't tell anyone. And John...
And would you have been shown at the time?
No.
Yeah.
I was so neat.
Yeah.
Right?
She's about 9'3".
I know.
Straight up.
I know, but I do, because I do say, like, when I was 6 months pregnant, like, I couldn't hide it.
Now...
I look like a
and
baby
then you're a
elephant.
teenager, and you're pregnant, and you're trying to hide it and do your leaving cert.
The thing was, my mum and dad were so caught up in their own problems and their own whatever was going on, they didn't notice anything either.
They didn't know.
And to me, that was sad. When I look back now.
That is sad. And not when you look back at the time that you're experiencing it and now.
Yeah.
It's really, really sad.
They didn't,
and that's
they
not
just
okay
didn't.
to happen.
No, it's not. And they didn't notice it. Now, there was so much going on that I always felt like maybe me and my sister, because I know she feels the same, we were kind of emotionally dropped.
Yeah.
Is the only way I can describe it.
Yeah.
Because their marriage was ending. My mum had actually started seeing someone else. So that was a huge thing as well. And she was so caught up in that, caught up in what my grandparents were thinking about them separating. My dad just kind of, I don't know, he just kind of bottled himself away, which is kind of sad too. But they never copped it. Now, I wasn't sick in my pregnancy, thank fuck. I never had one bout of morning sickness. Everything was fine.
Yeah.
The only thing was I was getting a little bit bigger. But they didn't notice that. They were just, I remember actually being in my grandparents one day, and my mum saying, do you know, you'd want to get moving a little bit. She said, I can see her putting on a little bit of weight around your stomach. She was probably just sitting around over the summer. And I was like,
okay.
Yeah.
Your grandchild is cooking in here.
Yeah, literally.
Can I ask a question?
Of course I can.
What was it like finding out that you were pregnant? Like, how did you and John find out together? You obviously missed your period and then done the test. So
what happened, I'll never forget it. So I actually took the test. I was in John's house at the time. And it was Easter holidays from school. And it was a Saturday evening. And I was terrified. I was like, I have to take this test. And he literally physically hid his head under a pillow. And he was like, oh no. So I went down and done the test. And straight away. Came up straight away. And I was like, great. Literally.
Go.
And I was like, congratulations. Yeah. My stomach dropped. But you know, I have to be honest, I say this, and people don't believe me when I say this, I actually got a little happy feeling.
I know why. because I was a teenage pregnant mum as well.
Yeah.
And it's all of a sudden you're connected to this set of life and it feels like a release.
Yeah.
And especially
away
if there's
from what
so
you've
much turmoil and
experienced.
sadness going on, like
Yeah.
that's yours. This is mine
Oh.
and John's, and we're happy. And
Yeah. Now, I was actually, but I was afraid to say that to John at the time.
Yeah.
I was happy because I remember him saying to me, I'm going to be fucking killed. And I was like, well, if you think you're going to be killed, you don't want to come to my house.
And pregnancy becomes your escape route. It's like, now I have a way out.
Yeah.
Now I have a way out of what's happening to me and around me.
Now
and
you get it. Yeah, now
I
you've
have
hit the
something else to
nail on,
focus
you've
on.
hit the nail on the head. For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
And I wouldn't know because I was a geriatric mum.
Orla was 32 when
I
she
was
had
so
to be.
So geriatric.
Such a that's what they call you in the return.
I know, it's terrible.
Here's the geriatric mum.
Terrible. 32
Yeah.
is no
So I
geriatric
don't know
mother.
about teenage pregnancy.
Trust as well.
Trust me. But you don't know about geriatric pregnancy.
No.
Thank God
No,
for
I was
that.
finished now by the time I was 30.
It's
done it
sad
all.
inside.
No, I just...
So tell us then. So your mum and dad found out. You told them at 6 months. How did you tell them? Like, how did that come about?
So I remember my mum, I was in my room and my mum had come in and said, oh, we'll go over and do the final fitting for your Deb's dress today. And in my head...
Oh, Jesus
The last
Christ.
thing you were thinking about was
I was
Deb's.
fucking rattling. I actually forgot. I forgot about it.
I'm panicked on your behalf.
And my
Sweating.
stomach dropped, and I was like, "Oh God!" And she walked into the next room, and I said, "No, I can't go." And she goes, "Why can't you?" She goes, "Come on, we'll go on." And I said, "No, I don't want to go." She said, "Why don't you want to go?" And I just said, "I'm pregnant. I'm not going to fit in it." And she just looked at me. I said, "What?" And I said, "Yeah." And she said, "Pull up your top." I said, "No." I said, "Pull up your top." And I just barely pulled it up. And I remember her hands going over her mouth. And she went, "Oh my God."
And was she like, how did I miss this?
Oh, I'd say she was.
Yeah.
No, she never said that to me.
Right, okay.
I would have shut up and let her
She-
tell her story. I'm betting to it.
Bet into it.
She never said that to me, but she was just like, oh my God. I'll never forget her face. And I just started crying. And she said, oh, I have to get out of here. So she just walked out and she went downstairs to my dad. And she told me dad. Now my dad is much calmer than my mum. My mum is a natural short fuse. She's a bit of a firecracker. She went down and told my dad, and then I just heard the door close and she drove off, and she went off for about an hour. And my dad, I was up in the room crying, and my dad came up with a mug of tea and he just said,
That's lovely.
yeah, he did. And I remember he just said you couldn't wait until I was 50.
Oh, wow.
And I just kind of laughed a bit. But I suppose when that kind of sunk in with him a little bit, he was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
But he was more calm about it than my mum was. Okay. Like my mum was like, we need to get you down to a doctor, blah, blah, but that was fine. We went down to the doctor and he asked me when did I find out I was pregnant and was that the first period I missed, whenever. I said, Jenny says, right, well, Katie, you're actually rocking up to about 6 months. Right. And my mum went, oh my God, that's all I could hear.
So do you believe at that time, and you don't have to answer
No,
this
it's
if you don't want to, did you believe at that time the intention from your mum was to get you down and then you would go through an abortion procedure?
Yeah, because I don't think she realised how far along I was. I think she was like, oh no, you don't really know how far along you're. And I was like, no, I do.
Yeah.
And then I remember my doctor, he was brilliant. He was so nice to me. And
Isn't that lovely?
yeah. He was so lovely to me. And he could see I was embarrassed and I felt so much shame. Yeah. And because my mum was all about, like, image was important to my mum.
Keeping face for the neighbours. What the neighbours say.
Now you have it.
Yeah.
Now you have it.
Do you know what I say?
Fuck the neighbours.
My mad to bet the neighbours up.
Yeah, but that's what it was. It was all about image, like, what are people going to think? What are people going to say? And she was like, you've ruined your life. And I remember saying to her, I haven't ruined my life. It's just going a different path than what you wanted it to be.
Yeah.
And
the rest of your pregnancy then that your ma and dad knew, what was that like? So the next 4 months.
Yeah, they hit the ground running, so they did.
Yeah.
So Kira was actually 3 weeks early as well, so I didn't even get the full 9 yards over. Like, it was
right.
Look, to be fair, not so bad. Look, I remember I had a few, not problems in my pregnancy. I had bleeds on and off in my pregnancy, and I was in and out of hospital quite a bit. Everything was fine. But I remember on one occasion being kept in the hospital. They just wanted to keep an eye on me. And it was the same day my mum and dad were going to court to get their divorce finalised.
Yeah.
And it was actually the only time I remember the two of them actually pulling together. And one was in with me in the morning, and then the other stayed with me in the afternoon.
Okay.
That was the one and only time I can say they kind of pulled together. Now, the rest of my pregnancy, it was okay. That's another thing. I'm extremely close to my grandparents. Like, extremely close to my grandparents. Like, really close. Like, I would nearly say they're more like parents to me than my mum and dad. That's my mum's parents.
Yeah.
Very, very close to them. They, like, my mum went back to work really, really soon after having me. And I was with them all the time. They basically raised me when my parents were working. I was really, really close to my nana. And I remember being terrified of them finding out.
Yeah, of course.
More so than your mum and dad. Yeah.
So afraid of disappointing them. But my mum was even too afraid to tell them. She got her brother to tell them. And my nana is just a natural worrier and a panicker. And I remember when I went, it was after the doctor's appointment, going into the house, and they knew, because the doctor's was only around the corner from their house. So I remember going into the house, and I was fucking rattling. And my nana just came down the stairs, and she said, I feel so stupid. And I said, why? And she said, I'm after been on holidays with you. She said, for 2 weeks in Spain, because they took me and my sister away for 2 weeks when all the shit was going on with my mum and dad.
Wow.
And she said,
That's very kind, actually.
She said, I never would have thought you were pregnant. And I fainted actually on that holiday. And I fainted because
Because I don't
No.
Jesus Christ.
Because I had eaten well and all that day, and my nana couldn't put her finger on it. And she said, I feel so stupid. And I was like, don't feel stupid. There's been so much going on. And then I remember my granddad coming out, and he just gave me a hug, and he says, you're not the first and you won't be the last.
And that's the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah. So baby Kira arrives.
She did. She did, yeah. She arrived on the 17th of November.
And then, what's life like then?
The day she was born, it was just, like even now, like I'd well up talking about it, it just made me so happy. It just made me so happy that I could be someone's mum.
You can't bottle that feeling, and if you could, the first time becoming a mum.
Show us over a tissue there.
She has one in her pocket, have you?
God, we wouldn't be as prepared now.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So you're looking at this little bundle of joy, and you're like, she's mine.
Absolutely. It was just so, I just felt so lucky to have someone that I knew I could be closer for the rest of my life. Because I didn't have that relationship with my mum. Whatever I didn't have with my mum, I wanted to make up with Kira.
Yeah.
And so I would believe, from what I know of you, that flipping and reframing the experience that you had with your mum allowed you to decide what kind of parent you wanted to be to all of your children.
All of my kids. And I know it sounds so harsh, but it's true. I was always like, I never want to be like my mum, because my mum was so hard on me growing up, and especially in my teen years. She was so hard on me, and I was not a bad kid. I never brought an ounce of trouble to the door. I never had one bad report in school. I always kept the head down, done what I had to do. But I am very sensitive to other people's energies. Like if someone's in bad form,
you pick up on it.
Yeah.
Very easily. And I'm always like, shit, did I say something? Am I after saying something to piss that person off? And I think that comes from when I was small all the way up until I was a teenager. It was always like my mum was very hard on me. She was like, if her and my dad were having a row, I'd kick off because I hate it.
Well, I tell you what you're talking about. So what you're talking about is called hypervigilance.
Okay.
And what happens is inside your body you become so dysregulated and you need to read the systems around you.
Yes.
And you're sending out signals looking for danger. So when you're looking to seek people's energy, you're looking for the danger in the spaces, and then you go, oh, I upset that person, it must be something that I done, and you reflect it back. So your internal dialogue is searching for danger because that's what you know, how you upset people, and they're like, okay, I know what I'm doing here with this person that I've upset, and it's like a radar that goes out and you kind of sense it and try and bring it back to yourself. And then
this day I'm like that.
Of course. You learn to read a room, you read the energy as soon as you walk into it. That's hypervigilance.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I like from the word go, like from when I was younger, like whenever my parents were arguing, I used to kick off. And even as a teenager then I used to kick off. And I always remember my mum and even my nana saying, oh, street angel, house devil. I'm like, you don't fucking know what I'm coming home to.
So when you say kick off, like what would you do to kick off?
There's time, like when I was a kid, I'd have like tantrums, like meltdowns. And then what would happen is that my mum and dad would start fighting with me and they'd be like, well, now we're fighting because of you. You've caused this. You've caused this. So I remember when they told us that they were separating, I was like, I've caused this.
And that's a very egocentric view of the world.
Yeah.
So you believe that everything that's happening in the world around is happening because of you, but they reinforced that idea as you were starting to kind of kick off, as you describe it. And actually what you're doing is detracting from what's happening over here and trying to bring attention back into spaces. I'm really sorry that has happened to you. I would have similar experiences, so I know
you get it,
what it is that you're talking about. And I work with quite a lot of families that would have similar experiences. So like families where a child may potentially have an eating disorder, or there might be schizophrenia, or they go to an extreme in the same sense.
Poor
so
things.
I'm actually really happy that you haven't gone to that extreme, because the last thing I want to do is be mates with the schizo in the gym. But you're all right. I'm
doing all right.
I'm only messing when I say that. And that's not to define you into any boxes or anything.
No, I know.
But that's potentially what happens to a lot of people, that they don't understand, and then they're like, I have ADHD, or I can do this, and it's like, actually what you're having is an experience of trauma.
Yeah. And that can impact an awful lot in your life, I think, because I've brought so much forward with me, and it has then affected like my relationship with my husband even at times. Do you know? Because he would have come from a very different family. Like his family, they were very open. He's 3 brothers. It was a busy house. I mean, I was there from the time I was 16. You can say I nearly grew up in that household as a teenager. I'm still over there every day of the week. Can't get rid of me.
John calls us mammies. Like, I went over to mammy's for dinner. I'd be like, what do you mean you went? You're still using your ma at this age, and this one out walking. That's not my accent. I'm like, John. Every time I say, like, hello, John.
What does he call his mum? Mammy?
No, he'd say mum. You got to go to
Mammy.
Mum.
Mammy.
I slag him over. It's definitely mammy.
He goes down there on a Sunday now when I'm in work, goes down and gets dinner. Although I can't say much, because when I'm there sometimes, she was saying, come on down for your dinner.
Isn't it brilliant?
Isn't
it
nice?
Great to have that safety net in someone else's
see,
family?
That's what it was for me. I loved going up there because it was a safety net. I remember going up there the first few times when we only very first started going out, and I was like, this is so nice. Yeah. No one's arguing. Everyone's getting on. There's a bit of crack. There's no feeling. Like, I used to hate going home. Yeah. Like, I'd be in bad form coming out of school because I know I have to go home. Then when I go home, my mum and dad say to me, why are you in bad form again? And I just say, I'm tired.
You could just feel the vibes.
I just knew it going in. I just knew it going in. Do you know? But maybe that was me at times just overthinking it, and maybe it wasn't that way, but 9 times out of 10 you knew what you were going to come into.
But that's
Separate
your
rooms,
experience
bad
of it.
vibes, yeah.
And like, as we talked about last week and the week before, this is about having permission to tell your version of the story.
Yeah.
So we fully give you permission to talk about what your version of that story is. So it's like, maybe, no, that is what your version of the story is. And that's
how
okay.
I felt. That's how I felt. And I used to love going up to Sean's, and we were only allowed to see each other 1 day a week on a Sunday for a long time. Cause,
Jesus.
Yeah. That's
really?
Yeah, we were only allowed to see each other 1 day of the week. And then when I was pregnant, then obviously, like, it was very different. I mean, when families found out and all, he was up to me an awful lot.
John had busy Sundays, didn't he?
Hadn't he?
Telling you. Jesus.
I'm telling you. But I remember the first day he passed his driving test, he came down to me. He was only like 17 or something. And I remember him saying to me, you coming up to the house? And I was like, God, I don't think my mum will let me in the car. Fuck, I was wrong. She was like, yeah, off you go on. But I think it was because there was so much going on. It was easier for me, for them, like, to like, you know, in their head, I think they were sort of like, it's easier for her to be out of the house now with all the shit that's going on.
Right, okay. So when baby Kira comes along, you still living at home?
Still living at home, and I'd be actually between John's house and my house, so she could get the best of both.
Worlds, yeah.
Where I could, I tried to stay in John's longer.
Okay.
So I just didn't want to be at home, because my mum, even when I was up in John's, she's like, when are you coming home? That, like, you know, this house is this baby's home too, and it's not fair. And I was like, just leave me alone. Yeah, that's all I wanted. I was like, let me do this.
What was she like with Kira?
She was good with Kira, but like, I don't want to be disrespectful that way either. Like, she was good with Kira, but she was always trying to take over. And I actually remember snapping at her one day saying, let me do this. I want to do this. I want to learn. I want to be a full-on mommy. I want to do these things.
I want to be Kira's mum.
Yeah. I want to do it. And I remember she got, and I was just, fine, do that and see how far you get them. And she slammed the keys down and walked out of the kitchen. And I was like, oh, then I felt like shit. And then I went and apologised for snapping. But really, I was annoyed at myself then afterwards, being like, why did you apologise?
Yeah.
Why did you apologise?
And that's it's in those senses where also you're her daughter. Yeah. But now you're a mammy.
Yes.
And where does your power sit, or where does it lie? And you're just after having a baby and all of this stuff that's going on.
This is it. Now, my mum, as I was telling you before, started seeing someone. And that was another shit show, because that wasn't good for me or my sister, really, because Mum was so engrossed in that relationship. I remember when Kira was born and my mum was in the hospital with me. I won't say his name just in case. I remember her saying to me, oh, don't tell you're not breastfeeding. That's against his religion. You cannot tell him that you're not breastfeeding.
I want to know
What's
so
it got
much
to
more
do with
about
him?
him now.
That's what I said. Oh, but you're still a child, so you're still under some house rules. I was like, I'm not a child. I'm someone's mother now, and I'm 18.
Yeah.
I was like, if I don't want to breastfeed, I don't want to breastfeed. Like,
they're purposely not breastfeed because of that.
You wouldn't have. You were 22, geriatric. Nobody wants to be getting their titties out in front of their uncles or their anyway. When you're that young, it's probably different.
It wasn't even that. It was just a thing of like, no, he's very strict on that sort of stuff. So you can't tell him that you're not breastfeeding. I was like, fuck this.
And how long was she with him at this time? And this is not to discredit your mum in any way, but it's just I'm wondering how quickly the influence happened.
To be very honest with you, Leanne, I really don't know, because I know when I found out my parents were separating, she had already been seeing them. So I think my parents decided to separate months before me and my sister found out. Yeah, so I actually don't know how long she was actually seeing him. Now, I remember the first time she brought me to meet him, and it was in Stephen's Green Shopping Centre, and I was pregnant. And this one everyone knew. And it was like, well, this is him, and he's going to be in your life now, and that's kind of the way it is. And I was like, well, like that was another.
That was it.
That was another traumatization thing. Yeah. And my sister was 4.5 years younger than me, and it was landed on her too. Now, my sister is far more outspoken than I am. I was always very quiet. My sister would be like, fuck you, I'm not, but I remember her being taken aback when she met him, because she didn't want to meet him for a long time. And then my mum forced it on her and made her go and meet him, which is the wrong thing to do.
And she was 12?
Yeah.
And where was your dad? What did your dad think?
He wasn't too happy about it. Yeah. He wasn't too happy about it. He never really said much about it now around me or my sister. Now, I'd say he had words with my mum, all right, I don't know, but he never really said anything. Like, but I knew it pissed him off. But you see, my dad was nearly too laid back. Do you get me?
Yeah.
He'd be like, oh.
And for an easy life kind of thing.
Yes.
Yeah. So, you're living in your ma's, so how old are you then and how old is Ciara? And do you move out? Do you move to John's?
So it was actually, my mum actually moved out.
Your mum moved out of the family home?
And I was still with my dad. I was still down there. Sorry, what did you say to me? How long was I?
How long were you at home with Ciara before yourself and John?
So I kind of gradually moved up to John's. I was just going up and staying for days, and then it turned into nearly a permanent thing. And then Ciara ended up going to play school up around there and school up around there. And then when Ciara she was turning 5, she was just starting primary school. And we were still living at home. And it was her first couple of days in primary school, and I found out I was pregnant on my second baby. And I remember saying to John, now we need to move out. And he didn't want to do anything. He didn't want to go out at all.
So you still eat Mammy's dinners?
Yeah.
And I like John. I do like John.
Yeah, but he's gas. Like he's tight the
he makes you smile, Katie, doesn't he?
Sometimes. Sometimes.
I've seen the times he doesn't make you smile.
I think everyone does. So then we were months then looking for somewhere, and we got a house. We were renting up until 2 years ago. We were 9 years in that house. And we started having our own kids, but more kids. But when we moved out, I remember my mum and my nana and that coming up to see the place. They're like, Jesus, this is grand. Like, because my grandparents are very old fashioned, very down to earth people. They're like, and it was an old house now. It's an old house.
Okay.
And they were like, I remember my grandparents just saying, this is all you need. You'll be grand, you'll be fine, you know, blah, blah. And my mum was always like, you make it in and give that a bit of a clean. There was always judgment.
Yeah.
Constant thing of judgment. And whenever I knew she was coming up to visit, I'd fucking blitz the place.
Yeah.
Blitz the place because I didn't want the judgment. And then I also used to get myself in a knot because I knew when she'd come up then, she'd have something to say about Ciara, or you're doing this wrong, you just try this or do this, or why is this like this, why is that like, and I just couldn't wait for her to go.
So we're still under quite a lot of pressure even when she came to visit.
So much.
Yeah.
So much. There was just trying that control thing. But as time went on, I slowly started to detach myself a little bit at a time.
Well done.
Because it was too much for me. It was too much for me, and I was like, fuck this, I am now in my 20s. I have my own little family. And I'm out on my own, standing on my own 2 feet, and I'm doing it. Like, I always remember my mum saying to me, like, when I had meltdowns when I was younger, or kicking off when I was a teenager at home, like, full on, like, proper killing rows with her, like, because I just couldn't gel with her. And I always remember my nana saying to me, you're just too alike. And I'm like, no, we're not. Like, and they were like, no, that's just you being a teenager. And I was like, no, I actually just, and I sound horrible saying this, but at the time I was like, I don't like her as a person. Now, she was going through so much at the time.
She probably wasn't a nice person at the time.
She wasn't.
And people
I don't
are
think she
allowed
was
to
a
change.
fair person at the time.
Okay.
I don't think she was a fair person at the time. She really came down so hard on me. And like, John would be able to tell you that too.
Okay.
Because he's seen it firsthand.
Do you think if she was here that she would be able to reflect in the same way on it?
She'd probably say to me, you're being unfair. There was a lot going on and I was going through a lot.
Okay.
But
you were going through a lot as well.
Yeah. Exactly.
And you're the child.
Yeah.
But also,
Agreed.
Katie acknowledges that our ma was going through a lot. Just remember, those different seasons of her life. And if she's going through a tough season and you're going through a tough season and both of them are parallel to each other, you can see where this kind of contention starts to brew and nobody really deals with it.
It does, but she always, like, I always felt like she said things she shouldn't have said. Like, I remember, like, having all those meltdowns when I was a teenager. She was like, you are always going to be on your own. You are never going to have any friends.
Oh, wow.
And I actually remember the day I got married. I remember saying this to John a couple of days after we got married. We were in Cork after we got married. I remember saying to him, I was standing at the door ready to go out. And I remember thinking to myself, I've done it.
Well done.
Yeah.
I've done it. I have friends. I'm not on my own. I've done it.
Were you really proud of yourself, Katie?
I was.
Well done.
Thank you. I was. Because
Did your
always
mum ever
stuck with me.
acknowledge that to you?
No. I don't even know if she'd remember saying those things to me. Because, like, she always said it, like, when she was angry, she's like, you'll always be on your own. who's ever going to want that? Look at you. Look at the way you're going on. You'll never have any friends.
Jesus Christ, if I was a lesbian, I'd go out with you myself. Yeah, bleeding lovely.
Beautiful.
But like, in fairness, like, you are a beautiful person and beautiful. Both beautifuls.
In and out.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
No, thank you. No, but it was just the way I was carrying on, I suppose, at the time. She's like, you'll never hold on to anyone. You'll never hold on to anyone. You keep, like, who wants to be friends with that?
And do you think that was self-reflective of herself, not being able to hold on to the people around her at the time?
I think so, because it's a bit of a pattern. Because, I mean, that relationship with my dad broke down. The relationship that she was in after that fizzled out. Do you know? She's lost friends over the years.
Is she has a partner now or?
No, and I have this thing in my head, I'm like, if everyone else is the asshole all the time.
Yeah.
They can't be. It can't be everyone else.
Jimmy Carr says it very well, actually. If everyone else around you is the asshole, you might want to take a look in the mirror. Yeah. And look, my mum has helped me out in recent years, a few years back, and John would say it as well. We both say it, and even my sister would say it. She mellowed, actually, a lot.
You mellow in your old age, though, really.
I wouldn't know, Orla. I'm not as old.
No, I wouldn't know either. It's just a quote I read from somewhere.
Not quite there yet.
TikTok. It was TikTok.
But she mellowed a bit more. Things got a little bit better. I mean, I knew that, there was a couple of times I rang her there and I was like, Mom, we're really stuck for money this month for rent or something. Can I borrow money, whatever? And she's like, don't be afraid to ask me, whatever, blah, blah. But it's changed again since. Okay. So she is now different again. So I don't know the last time I actually spoke to my mum. It's been a couple of months for sure. She would never, ever, ever pick up the phone and talk to me or my kids, which are her grandkids. Yeah. You'd never get a text. Nothing.
When is the last time you needed your mum and she wasn't there?
When was the last time I needed my mum? See, I find that hard to answer because I've learned to cope without.
Yeah. And I thought that's what your answer was going to be.
I've learned to cope without. I'd actually go to my mother-in-law.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then John is a good husband as well.
When he wants to be,
He's all right.
He's all right. Don't give him too much, now. You can't do that.
We do like John.
I don't know John, but I like him.
You can come and meet John. We'll have John on next week.
Yeah. Oh, Leanne. You do a series on him. Oh, jeez.
He just be like, it's just chicken fillets and yogurt. Look at my shoulders, my short shorts. So can we move past your mum, obviously, because that's framed the experience of you as a mum. And tell us about you as a mum and what you're like.
So, I used to be a very uptight mum.
Okay.
I used to be, so obviously when I had Kira, she was my first. And I was like,
what am I doing? What am I doing?
You probably wanted to do everything perfect.
I felt very confident.
I didn't.
I actually felt very confident. Fucking terrified of bringing her up to country life. I was afraid of. John was like, let her go in the dirt. And I was like, absolutely not. I was like, she's going to eat fucking dirt and get sick or whatever. And they're like, she's grand.
Build our immune system.
Yeah. But I was 18 going, no. I just want to put her in bubble wrap.
Yeah.
But no, look, I was very uptight. And then there was a 5-year gap between herself and Callum. And when he was born, I felt like I was starting again.
Yeah.
And it was just like that. I was like, oh my God.
Were you more mellow on your second?
I was more mellow. No, I wasn't. No. I tell you, I just felt like I had so much to prove all the time. So I was trying to balance everything. And it was hard, but I done it. But I'm a real huggy man.
Yeah.
I love hugging my kids. I love telling them I love them. They'd be like, get off me. But I love it.
Yeah.
That's my Bailey.
I love it.
Get away from me.
Yeah.
I love you. And he's like, yourself away from you.
My son, it's biased, isn't it? My son is the same. He'll just be, what's wrong with you? And you'd be like, I just think you're gorgeous. I'd just be like, yeah, whatever. Get away from me. You put money on me, Revolut.
Yeah.
I will if you give us a hug.
Yeah. Literally. And that's why I said to kids, I was like, I'll do it now if you give me a hug or tell me you love me or something. But when I became, when Callum was born, so when he was 10 months old, I had given birth to Harry. So there's 10 months between Callum and Harry.
10 months between
they're
me
Irish
and my
twins.
brother as well.
Yeah, they're Irish twins. That was bloody hard work. And then I had Kira, who was 6 then.
Right.
So that was hard work, but I loved it. Hard work, but I
Sure, they
loved
say
it.
if you're rearing one, you're rearing two.
But
But like
half a Ballymon.
But I remember, so when Harry was, God, he was only a few months old, and I remember just sitting back looking at him going, I can't believe I've done this. This is great.
Yeah.
This is great. Now, I had very hard days too.
Yeah, of course.
No, I had really hard days, like very hard days. I used to ring John crying and everything, and he didn't know how to cope with me. And he was like, Katie, I'm in work. You may just solve it. And I was like,
Oh, now here, John. I've been having words with him.
No.
I liked him a minute ago.
I was doing his head in. Because I was like, I tell you what was wrong with me. I was burnt out.
Yeah, of course
I was
you were.
exhausted. I was burnt out. And I was great. I was very, very lucky in that they were all sleepers and all. But I was just wrecked.
Yeah.
I was mentally and emotionally. My hormones were whacked. I had 2 pregnancies back to back.
Yeah.
You were still trying to grow up, Katie.
Yes, I was.
And that's okay.
I was in my
Yeah.
early 20s. Like, I was still trying to grow up and trying to rear a family.
And I still wasn't a ma yet, and she had 3.
It's way ahead, yeah. Flying.
But then that time went on then with that, and then I was actually heavily pregnant on Harry when I got engaged. It was Christmas Eve when I got engaged.
Was it a surprise?
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah, it was. I was heavily pregnant when I got engaged on Harry. Then when Harry was 2, I was pregnant when I got married. I was pregnant on Liam, number 4. And I remember I was in total denial I was pregnant.
Again.
No, but like I
What was it,
I
a
really
surprise
was like
to you?
I was working a little part-time job at the time in Smiths just to get out of the house.
Yeah.
Right. And there was a woman who worked at me. Anyway, she was working on the tills with me, and she was great. Like she was like my work mammy. I was like, I really don't. It's not that I didn't feel well. I just didn't feel myself. And she said, I bet you're pregnant. I said, I can guarantee you, I'm actually not. I was like, I can actually guarantee you, I'm not. And then she got on my head, and I went home and done a pregnancy test, and I went, oh fuck, straight away, positive. I remember when John came in, because we were only a few weeks off from getting married, and our hall used to be real long, probably the length of this. And I came out of the bedroom up here, and he walked into the kitchen there, and I said, see you. And I got the pregnancy test and launched it down the hall.
I actually can't imagine you doing that.
Oh, I was like, oh my God. Now it was very wanted, a very wanted pregnancy. I was just in shock because I was like, no, we're done. Like,
Gangs of kids.
I'm done.
Gangs of kids.
And there I was, like, what was I, 8 weeks or something pregnant, getting married. And then Liam was born in the October, and he was born 7 weeks early. We went down to Limerick for a weekend away, actually, for my birthday, and I came back with a child.
So he's a foreigner.
Wow,
Yeah, he's a Limerick man. Yeah. But that was very tough, because that was a part of parenting I had never experienced. Yeah. I had never experienced. I was away from home. I was away from family. It was just me and John.
Unprepared.
I tried nothing.
Not
then.
even a nappy.
I didn't even have a fucking towel with me. I had nothing for myself. I had nothing. Like, I had to send John into Penny's to get me stuff. Like, I tell you how unprepared it was. Liam had just been born, and they had taken him down to the ICU. I said, John, I didn't have underwear to put on. John had to get his bag out of the car and give me a pair of jocks.
Oh, wow.
Well, now.
I had nothing. And I was so unprepared, but I actually...
Did the hospital not have anything for you?
No.
Shame on them.
No, they had nothing.
She's saying in the hospital.
Absolutely
No,
nothing. Like, they had a
because I'm
hospital
sure
gown to
that's
give
not
me,
the
but there was
first
nothing.
emergency they've
No.
seen.
Yeah.
No. Like,
All right.
no, but you are right. No, they were amazing.
Yeah.
They
No,
were
I'd
nice.
say they were, but they should have had.
Oh, yeah, for
Something
sure.
for you.
Now, we were blessed. The hotel that we were staying in looked after us like family that week.
Oh, that's
great.
great.
They kept us there
What
for
was
the
the name
week.
of the hotel?
The Woodlands Hotel in Adair.
Shout out to the Woodlands.
Absolutely. They were phenomenal. And they always ask about Liam. And they sent us cards and everything then, you know, like in around a year after, like in around his first birthday. They actually had us down for his first birthday. I've done a big party and all for him. And put his
that's
picture up in the bar
lovely.
and everything. Yeah. Because, you know, Liam is actually, for anyone who's like into Gara, like that, Liam was named after the Liam McCarthy Cup. The cup was in the hotel that night when he was born. And it was the first time Limerick had won the All-Ireland in, I don't know, was it 40 years or something?
Well,
or
then
more?
he was meant to arrive when he
So
did.
we didn't actually know really what we were having. So when he was out, I was like, we have to call him Liam. That was it. But that was, for me, that was a different side of parent. I actually held a lot of guilt. I felt terrible that my body had spat him out so early. I felt rotten. I felt so much guilt because I was looking at this baby in the ICU covered in tubes.
Yeah, of course.
Now, turns out in the end, he was grand. He kept ripping them out, so they took him out after a day. He was grand, but I felt rotten.
That's because he's a Limerick man.
Yeah, that's what I said. That's what I said. But I felt rotten. And then I felt guilty. I was away from the other kids for so long. Do you know, I just carried that guilt for ages. And Liam is actually, he's autistic. And that, I carry so much guilt around that every day. I've cried more times about it than anyone knows about. I've stressed so much about it.
How old is Liam?
Liam's 7. He's 7. But he's a great kid. He's so loving. He's like a sticky plaster with me. He's stuck to me like glue. He's my best little pal. They all are.
Yeah.
They all are. But I can't describe it. When Liam was born, there was just I don't know. I just had this feeling, but I can't describe the feeling.
Have you, somewhere inside you, linked Liam's autism to the premature birth?
So that was questioned, and they said it's very much a DNA thing.
Okay, yeah.
I'm
just wondering why you're carrying the guilt around that.
I'm carrying the guilt because I feel like I'm an undiagnosed something for sure. Because when I was a kid, I was a toe walker. My meltdowns were crazy. There were certain noises I couldn't stand. To this day, still can't.
Nuts, Katie. Give yourself a bit of leeway.
They were, but there were certain things that had to be a certain way for me, and even to this day, that's there. And I carry that guilt.
But I think we all have a bit of that.
We do.
And complex trauma and ADHD and that prefrontal cortex and how it develops in your brain is all very similar as to when you're experiencing trauma and your experience of trauma, which you talk about as you grew up and how your brain develops. And that need for control sometimes is always part of what's happening in the background. Or people just don't care at all.
No.
Like there's very different variants of it. But like there'd be people, my friend would say, I have ADHD, and I'd be like, I'm just grand with my complex trauma over here, like, you know what I mean?
I'll take that.
I haven't got ADHD, just have complex trauma. Yeah, like I'm grand, but it'd be the thinking fast and slow. There'd be ways we behave and thinking the same, but also could just be our environment and where we grew up as well.
See, that's it. And I was always told, like when I was a child, you're as awkward, you're as clumsy, you'd trip over a stamp, you'd fall over a shadow, you'd this or you're that. Like there was never anything positive.
Right.
You were never given praise. You were never given anything positive. It was always like you're as awkward, you're this, you're that. Just a constant on the negatives. Like I can't tell you one time I saw something positive. I can't. I genuinely can't. I can't tell you one time. I really can't.
Did she tell you were a beautiful bride, your mum?
I don't remember if she did.
And she could have, and you could have.
She could have
blocked that experience out.
She could have.
Yeah.
But she might not have.
She could have.
I think if she had, if you'd remember.
Yeah. And then actually the morning of my wedding, I remember she was like, get a picture of me. And I was actually in the middle of getting my hair pinned. And I was like, I said, and I was nice about it. I was like, yeah, just give me a couple of minutes. She goes, oh, for God's sake, you took a picture with the photographer. Oh, God forbid you get a picture with your mother. And I remember the hairdresser stopping and looking, like giving her the side eye, and she went,
I like hairdressers.
Yes. And I actually remember her face going, fuck. And I just said, yeah. Do you know, and it was just about her.
Yeah. Welcome to my life.
Yeah.
So do you know what? Thank God you can laugh about it. A little bit.
No, I can because I know I couldn't have a few years ago.
Yeah.
I can now because I'm content now.
Yeah. And does being a mother help you to maybe understand some of the difficulties that she was experiencing?
Yeah, look, listen, I have been through a lot with John and a lot of other things in my adult life, and I get maybe why she was feeling the way she was feeling, but I still wouldn't take it out on my kids. And maybe that's because of the experience I had being the child that did get all the negativity.
Now you know not to do that.
Yes. Now, don't get me wrong. There's been times where I've had words with John and he'd be like, you're starting to sound like your mother now. Think of the kids. John. No, he does. And he says, oh, you're like, sometimes he'd say to me, you're so like your mum. And I actually start crying.
Does that hurt you?
That hurts me.
John, don't do that again.
Yeah, John.
That hurts me. Now, it's not like he's not saying it to be nasty. It's just, but there is some things I catch myself and I go, fuck.
Yeah.
There's my mark coming out of my mouth.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I go, oh, no.
Yeah.
And like straight away, I'm just like, no. I don't want to be that person. I don't.
Yeah.
Now, there has been times, don't get me wrong, where I've, like, around the kids, and I've been like, Katie, catch yourself on. They don't need to hear you giving out. Catch yourself on. No, it's not too often.
Yeah.
Now, unfortunately, earlier days when the kids were much, much younger and really small, and I'd have been struggling, they'd have seen me cry, they'd have seen me upset for the wrong reasons. Do you know, but now I would say to them, if they ever see me upset, and it wouldn't be because of anything that's happened, it could be, I could have seen something fucking sad on the telly or heard something sad, and I'd say to them, it's okay to be like this, and it's okay to feel that way. And they're all okay, and it's okay to come and talk to me if you feel a certain way. I didn't have that luxury.
Yes.
So for them, I make sure that they know they can come to me. We are a very open household. We're
Brilliant.
a very open household. Very open. That's the way I want it to be.
Yeah.
Now, it's up to them whether they, like, I mean, Kira tells me a lot. She might not tell me everything. She's 16. But she tells me an awful lot. And I'm really grateful for that. And myself and John are very open with her, and she's quite transparent with us.
Well done, Katie.
Thank you.
Done on getting that far and doing that. We're down to Liam now, who is child number 4.
So after Liam, so this is where it gets hard. I got pregnant on Olivia. So Olivia is my baby who passed away.
Yeah.
So that in itself was a very traumatic pregnancy. And I'm going to be very delicate around this because I don't want to hurt people that are close to me.
You do whatever you need to do.
But when I found out I was pregnant, it was a massive shock. I know I said that before, but this was
like they were all in shock.
No, this was, and John couldn't cope with it at the beginning. He was like, and I was like, well, I didn't do it on my own.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, didn't do it on my own. And he found it hard to come to terms with it. It just took him a while, just because he was like, Jesus, wasn't in the plan. And it wasn't in the plan. And it took him a long time to try and get his head around it. He never spoke about it. I didn't speak about it. I actually had nobody I could speak to about it. Because then when family found out I was pregnant, there was explosions.
Okay.
Family were like, you're going to run him into the ground working. It's not fair. I was like, well, I didn't do this on my own.
You didn't.
And we're adults.
Yes.
Now, people were just angry and upset at the time. For what? I don't know.
Why is it their business? You're the one looking after the kids, you and your husband. Do you know what I mean?
I know.
You're not running to them and saying, here's another one for you.
I know. And I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't take advantage of anyone. But it's like, that happened, and then I was extremely upset by it. And then it was okay for a while, and it was coming up to my big scan, the anatomy scan. I was 22 weeks. It was actually a little over 22 weeks. They were backlogged trying to get the scan in. But because Liam was early, they were seeing me every second week to measure the length of my cervix and to make sure everything was going okay. And we went in for the big scan. Everything was 100%. It was perfect. And we came out of the scan. And I remember John looking at the scan. We parked at the right count, got the Lewis in, and we were walking to the Lewis to go home. And we had found out we were having a girl. We decided to find out. And we were so happy because we'd had like so many boys and such a gap since we had Kira. Like this is great. And Kira's going to get a sister. And I remember him looking at the scan and he just kind of smiled. And I was like, right, now that he's seen everything in the scan,
round.
he's coming around. She was dead 3 days later.
Oh.
Yeah. So that was hard.
Yeah.
Because I went through the majority of that pregnancy feeling alone, trying to hold it together, wanting everything to be okay, and then she was dead. So I went into obviously preterm labour. I was sitting at home one evening and I was doing Kira's homework with her, and I was getting the boys ready for a bath. I was like, "Geez, I have terrible back pain." I was like, "Where's that after coming from?"
Yeah.
Because I'd have been flying around all day, not bother. And then I started getting like pressure pains at the front, and I was like, "Oh, that feels weird." And I text John. I said, and he was over in his mum's actually helping his dad fix something. I don't feel right. He's like, right, come on, we're going to get checked. Which is so unusual, because he'd actually be like, you'd be grand.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I'm fine, we'll leave it another bit. And he's like, no, I'm going to come home, we'll go in and get checked. And by the time he got home, it was only 10 minutes away, by the time he got home, I was doubled up in pain. And I knew there were contractions.
You were in labour.
I knew it. So we went into the rotunda. Straight away, I got seen to straight away. They had me up in the bed, got up in the bed in the A&E, and I was like, oh God, I think my waters have just gone. And the midwife looked at me and shook her head, and she said, no, it's blood. And I went, okay. So John had stepped outside for a minute. I think his phone was ringing. I think it was his mum. And I had said to the midwife, I was like, right, can we get a stitch in? Like, what's I was just thinking of everything. And she's like, unfortunately, no. She said, we're just going to have to take it from here, whether your labour progresses or not. Your baby will probably be born tonight. There's nothing we can do for her. She's going to be too small. We won't be able to intervene if she is born alive, or she might be born sleeping. Oh. And my whole world just crumbled around me. And when John came in, I had to tell him, and he started crying. And I remember he'd said to the midwife, anything. Because I knew he was feeling so guilty.
Yeah.
Like, is there anything? They said no. So I got admitted. I got brought up to the labour ward. Contractions had actually went on for another while and then fully stopped.
Okay.
Labour had fully stopped. And the doctors that come in and see me, and they're like, if you can keep her in there for another week, 10 days, then we can do something. We can help. And a few days went past. And I never forget it was Sunday. A few days went past. I was in a room on my own, given the circumstances. And I started getting pains again. And I was like, here we go. And I knew. I knew it was happening again. And actually, John was in with me. And before the pain started, I was like, go on home. I was like, I'm just wrecked. I want to go to sleep. Go on home. And he actually refused to leave, which isn't like him. Usually he'd say, yeah, go on. Then the pain started, and they came in and they checked me, and they're like, yeah, you're in established labour. I said, right, okay, here we go. So we went up to the labour ward then, and I was in so much pain because I was feeling so much guilt. Because what happened was, when they had scanned me in between the two parts of the labour, they were like, you have so much amniotic sludge.
Yeah, okay.
So it was like an infection.
Yeah.
And I felt rotten. I was like, well, why can't I have the infection? Why does it have to be her? Why is it only solidly in there? Why is it only her? Like, why am I... I felt like shit. So we went up anyway to the labour ward, and she was born after 20 minutes. But she was born alive.
Oh.
She was born alive, and she lived for 3 minutes. And I'd say they could hear us roaring from fucking 2 streets away.
Yeah.
We were destroyed.
And I am very sorry for your loss.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Hugely sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
But also everything that happened in the in-between, and I say this simply because I had a miscarriage.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And we had tried for a baby for quite a long time, and I remember nobody saying to me, because it was like an early pregnancy, I got really infected in my womb, and I ended up having to take tablets for weeks and weeks at a time. And I remember, like, because we had tried and we hadn't been telling anybody that we were trying for a baby, and then when I lost, it was like, that's grand, like, at least it was just a miscarriage. And I was like, but no, it wasn't. The hormones had changed in my body. It was a loss. And I was bereaved for what I expected potentially would happen in the future.
A loss.
A loss is a loss.
Doesn't matter how early it is.
I've heard some people saying, Ash, you can always go again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we were met with that an awful lot afterwards. They're like, at least you have your girl. At least you have your girl. At least you have the others. At least it wasn't your first. Doesn't matter.
No,
at least you didn't go full term. Doesn't matter.
You lost the potential of what your other child's life was going to be like.
Yeah.
You lost like your kind of definition as a man, because I know that was really challenging for me. I was like, my body has let me down.
But that's how I
so
felt.
what do I do with this now?
That's how
and
I
didn't have any more kids after that. I was like, right, I just went, that's it. I had enough now at that stage. So for you to even go on and have another baby after that, I think is phenomenal.
Oliver, so he is the baby. He's 5 now. He's staying the baby.
Never say never.
No,
She'd
he's
be like,
staying
it's a
the
little
baby.
shock.
Be a geriatric man. It's great. It is.
No, don't mind her, Orla. Don't mind her.
No, that was another thing. So that pregnancy of Oliver's, I kept stum for about 6 months. Now, it was COVID. We're all locked up anyway.
Yeah.
Didn't see anyone.
But you probably didn't want anyone saying.
I didn't want anyone uttering a feckin' word to me.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was like, I have been through enough.
Yeah.
Every pregnancy I've had so far has been shameful.
And mind just our own business, people.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Very hard. Now, Oliver was premature. He was 7 weeks premature as well.
And
So
so
I-
was Liam.
So was Liam and Olivia. Like, so all of mine were like, well, Ciara, Callum and Harry were classes full term. They were all born 3 weeks early.
Right.
They just kept getting earlier.
Earlier.
Yeah. But Oliver was 7 weeks early. And the fear I had when he was born. Because I didn't even get to see his face. They took him out. He was struggling to breathe. He was gone.
Yeah.
He was gone.
Okay.
And I was, where's my baby?
Yeah.
I didn't even get to see his face. They literally whipped his head up to me to give him a kiss and he was gone.
I can only imagine.
All
the
I saw
fear
was the
and
top of
terror.
his head. And the fear. I was rattling. I wasn't allowed down to see him until the next day. Like, it was the middle of the night, so I wasn't allowed to go down. I think it was like 10 or 11 o'clock the next morning before I got to go down and see him. I spent the whole night in the ward crying. Because I was like, is he okay?
Yeah.
Is he okay? Like, what? Like,
Would you not telling you anything?
They just said, he is fine. But I was like, but I want
to be.
I don't even know what he looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't seen his face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even know what he weighed when he was born.
Yeah.
I was like, somebody tell. Like, I had to try and get all that information. Like, he was gone. And I know they had to do their job. Their job is to try and get him breathing and make sure he's safe and well and healthy. But I was terrified.
Yeah.
I was terrified. And it's still a fear in me to this day of losing another child.
Yeah.
Ciara's going on a trip for 24 hours with her school on Monday. I'm rattling.
Really?
I'm rattling. Now, it's her first trip away from home.
Okay.
With school and all. Like, I mean, she's gone away to Spain and that before with my mum or whatever. And she's gone down to family down in Clonmel and everything. But she's gone out of the country without any of us.
Yeah.
And it's only for 24 hours. But I'm like, oh, I just can't help that feeling. Now, I don't...
That's because you're a good mother.
No. It's not a controlling thing.
No.
It's fear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just fear.
Well, you've had
What if
enough.
something happens and I'm
Yeah.
not there and
Yes.
she needs me and I'm not in the country
Yes.
and she needs
Well,
me?
you've also had enough experiences to allow you to understand and know that stuff gets beyond your control.
Yes.
And you can live in chaos at times.
Absolutely.
Can I ask,
course
Katie,
you can.
as we start to wrap up, if you could tell younger Katie, under 16, before she got pregnant, probably before she met John, if you could give her any advice, little Katie, what would you say to her now?
What would I say? Don't take any shit. Don't let yourself be walked on. And everything's going to be absolutely fine.
And
It's all going to
you
work out.
are,
And you're going to be a different person to what you think you're going to be.
you are a phenomenal person. And you have redefined yourself across your life in so many different ways. As a mom, as a person, Katie's just changed jobs, and the courage that it took for her even to do that. And she was like, I was like, just leave, just
And
go.
I did just leave.
Yeah.
What do you do? Can we ask what you do?
Yeah, I'm a makeup artist.
Oh, you only have to look at her makeup. It's stunning. The highlighter on the cheek. I'm lucky if I wash my face.
No, listen, that was always a background thing. I always wanted, when I was a kid, actually, the whole way up along, I wanted to be a primary school teacher. I just wanted to work with young kids. Then when I got into 6th year, the guidance counsellor was like, would you look at nursing or anything? And then I found midwifery and I was like, well, I want to do that.
Yeah.
Because it is such, and I loved it. It's such a privilege to be at someone's birth.
Yeah.
It's such a privilege to be at a birth. Do you know, it really is. And I've experienced both sides of the coin now. Actually, in years to come, when my kids are grown up, what I really want to do is I want to go back and do midwifery, but I want to be a bereavement midwife.
Yes.
That's what I'd love to do. And then people go, that is so weird. I was like, no.
You understand the
I get
context
it.
and experience that people
I get
have.
it, yeah.
And not
I'd love to
everyone
help
can
people.
do that. That's a calling, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's definitely a
That's
calling.
something now I'd love to do. But again, my kids need to be older before I can go out and do any of that. But in the meantime, I'm going to stick with the makeup and I'm actually going to hopefully do a fitness course.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
Look at you.
I'd love to.
And 5 kids.
I have a lot of help. I have so much help. Like, I would be lost without my husband's family. I'd be lost without them. They live across the road from me, but they treat me like their own.
That's
They
lovely.
treat me like their own.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
I mean, I can just walk in through that door. I don't have to knock. I can just walk in and be like, well, today's shite. How's your day going? Like, do you know, it's like going into your parents' house.
Yeah.
Do you know, it's like just going home. Like, and my 3 brother-in-laws are like brothers to me.
Yeah.
I know all I have to do is pick up the phone, that's it.
That's
It'll be
lovely.
over, no matter what.
And
That's lovely.
as I kind of reflect and I'm hearing like the woman that you were in the past and the potential that you can be anything that you want to be still in the future. I was talking to Orla's auntie the other night and she was saying, I was a woman of me time, and I was like, no, break down the invisible walls, break down the glass ceilings. And she actually said, Leanne, we couldn't do that now. Or we couldn't do that then, but we potentially could do that now. And you can do that. And you will do that. And 110%, we will be there polishing your crown, making sure that you get everything
and
absolutely phenomenal.
Give us an old little makeup session as well.
You don't be taking
if we ever get the cameras going and we go like show our muzzles, we get Katie too.
That was another thing, that's one of the biggest achievements I've ever done. I used to hold master classes. I worked for an Irish brand previously. They were great. They're really all for like women. Yeah. Like really like supportive. And that was another thing. I used to do an awful lot of classes. Never in my wildest of dreams when I was younger would I said, geez, I'm going to get up in front of people and talk. I hope.
And here you are.
I know.
On your How's Your Ma podcast.
Yes.
Kate, it's been an absolute dream to have. She's like a mini series over there.
The surface.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think there's loads more that we need, and I didn't want to keep jumping in and asking you all these questions.
No problem.
Because I enjoyed listening to you.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much.
Your story has great value for other women who listen to it too.
From a teenage pregnancy to a makeup artist with 5 kids.
Yeah.
A husband, a house.
Yeah.
You go, girl.
Thanks very much for coming on our show. My name is Leanne.
My name's Orla.
And we are How's Your Ma?